Good morning, traders and investors around the world, and welcome to Thursday's edition of PreMarketInfo.com, where we prepare you for the most important hour of the day, the first hour. Well, Dennis, getting a little lift out of the S&Ps this morning. We were able to take out yesterday's low by 4 points there, but we've bounced.
Yeah, quiet after hours session. There was a little merger, but besides that, it was pretty quiet. Then overnight, obviously, we pop again. So we've got a good bounce here overnight. We'll have to see what happens after the jobless numbers, though.
Okay, Globex low currently stands at 1198, just under that magic $1,200 level. If that stands as the low of the day, which is looking pretty good right now, we have an upside target of 1124.50. Or excuse me, 1224.50, which would take us within 2 points of Wednesday's Globex high. The high that we're looking at right now is 1575. Doesn't look like that's going to hold up right now, but if it did, our downside target would be 1188.75. Right now, just the close in the mid-range there, 1206 and a quarter. As long as we stay there, we're good to go to the north. Moving on to our Big Ten, Dennis. Talking about Apple yesterday, I really wasn't that sure if it took out that 387 that it would trade 381 immediately, but pretty nice break there in Apple yesterday.
Yeah, I guess we got that one right, Joel. It just touched through that 387 and never looked back. I actually was looking at it, and I just had got sidetracked there at the open. I got back to it. It was already at 385, so I was like hoping it would get a bounce. It never really happened. Just straight down to 380, really. So it is getting a bounce this morning, 383, so obviously be some big resistance up at that 387 area where we fell off yesterday. If it can rally another $4, maybe you get a second shot at it. I do think rallies are meant to be sold after 387. That 390, 391 area becomes major resistance too.
Right. I think the only way you could catch something like that is maybe with a sell stop short, market that way, get it out there where you get done, and then, put something back over the opening range. And that's a way to catch a quick falling stock like that. But we'll use the close. 380.19 is good support. Below that's Wednesday's low, 377.68. Right around that 378 level, where that stock closed on October 5th when Steve Jobs passed away. So that 378 still is a number looming in investors' minds. Coming back on the upside, I really don't see a whole lot in the book up to this 387.38 level. Moving on to the Big Ten, after having kind of a strong day on Tuesday, the oils did give it up a little bit yesterday. ExxonMobil closing at 79.44 after sneaking down to 78.66 before getting a pop. I really don't see much resistance in there, Dennis, until we go back up until yesterday's high or perhaps even Tuesday's high at 81.81.
I wonder if 80, though, it's psychological, so it's a big psychological number. And in the pre-market, it's kind of just almost like a magnet there. It's been trading around 80 here for the last 20 minutes or so. Even in the last half an hour. 79.98 is the last after closing at 79.44. So maybe get a little bit of initial resistance at 80. Obviously, is major resistance when you start getting to 81 and above. But I'm just not sure if we're going to get a rally to get up there. I'd love to get up there and try a short on this again at 81. But I don't know if you're going to get to the stock to rally that much, Joel.
Okay, this 80.17 too, where we're trading real close to, was Wednesday's high. So got a low risk short here above this 80.17. Not much in the book there to keep it going. Well, Dennis, another tech stock that took it on the chin yesterday, IBM, just kind of opened up just above that 190 level, and you had to be quicker than a cat on a hot tin roof to catch that one. Opened up, made a 190.28 high, smashed through that 190, got down to 188, really didn't have a relevant number there. Perhaps Dennis's whole number theory came into play there. Closed at 188.78, so you got good support at Wednesday's low at 188. We're getting a nice bounce now, trading 189.50. So really not much up there until Wednesday's high, and above Wednesday's high, there's really not much resistance, at least for 2 points.
Yeah, the scary thing you could say, but you start going above that, and there really is not much in there, Joel. So it's a scary short at 190 because you could short 190 and be at 191 or 192 in a hurry. So hard to control the risk on that. If it was to rally up to that 192 area, then maybe there's a little bit more of a risk return to try a short on this. But I do think rallies are to be sold on this as well. I think overall, this is a bounce here. If we got 8 or 9 points, it depending on what the jobless claims does. I think we get a bounce today. I think it's a bounce to be sold.
Okay, Mr. Softy, just channeling stocks.com, favorite stock here, still trading in that 25.5 to 25.87 range. Actually made a high at 25.86 yesterday with a 25.57 low. Only a 30-cent range in that stock, Dennis. This thing is going to make a move here, either below, a couple closes below this 25.50 or above 26.
Just tight, hard chart to read too. With Apple and Google starting to break down yesterday, you tend to think that this Microsoft might break down as well, but I'd still be a seller in the high 25s. I think if you're selling at 25.59 at the close or even 25.71, I think you might be a little early because I think it could go back up there, retest the 26 area. Maybe that's the area where you might want to try a short.
Okay, Chevron Corporation kind of back in the news yesterday regarding their oil spill. There's a stock broke down through support, got under that magic $100 level. Dennis got to 99.51 before recovering to close at 100.53. Not a lot out there, Dennis. Not a lot above the open. Really not a good number until this 104.02, which was Wednesday's high. Break it down below this 99.51 level. Got a gap to fill down to this 98.05 level.
You knew that oil spill was going to come back to haunt them there. Yeah, nothing just it always comes back up into play. Obviously, that's what killed Chevron there yesterday, falling over $3, down over $4 at the worst of it. 104, you're right, Joel. Huge resistance up there. If it got back up to there in the high 103s, I think it's a great shorting opportunity. I don't see it getting that high. I think if you're going to get short this thing, you're going to probably have to play it earlier than that. Kind of tricky to control the risk, but maybe this 102 area, maybe you could try selling it off that area.
Okay, J&J yesterday, kind of closed near the low of the day, really getting some major support in this thing, just under the $63 level. You have the 8-day low at 62.85, got to 62.93 yesterday. Really not getting much of a bounce here in the pre-market, only up a nickel, not sure where it's bid. But, you could still try using that 63 level as a buy and, until you're wrong, perhaps, at 62.80. Coming back on the upside, we just probably can float up to 63.78, which was, Wednesday's high. And then, of course, the major resistance at Monday and Tuesday's high at 64.08 to 64.20.
Yeah, you're getting the high 63s, sellers all over the place, even some size starting to form at 64. So I wouldn't be surprised those high frequency guys are selling in the high 63s. If you want to lean on those guys, sell, in the 63.80s probably is a pretty good bet, or even at the close, or at the high yesterday at 63.78. We're up $9 here, so that would probably, if it opened with fair value, would open it right in that range. So this could be one of those plays, depending on what the jobless numbers does again, where the stock might open at the high and then tend to drift lower.
Okay, here's an interesting one for you. Procter & Gamble closed at 64.45, currently trading right on yesterday's low at 64.32. So there's a little bit of weakness in your Procter & Gamble. Below that, you got the 63.94 level, which was Monday's low, and the 10-day low at 63.87. Looks like someone's trying to accumulate some stock here under $64, Dennis. Below that, you have the 11-day low at 63.19.
Yeah, below 64 does open up there for 80 cents. If the stock's to open higher again, 65. That 65 number, I know it broke through there the one day, but it's been playing major resistance here. The high 64.95 again, size accumulate there at 65 again. So same story. I would be selling this in the high 64s, probably 64.80s and 64.90s.
AT&T, Dennis, boy, this stock needs to wake up a little bit here. Got up real close to, got a little bit above Tuesday's high, which was 29.19, got to 29.25. Major resistance there. If you get through there, you're looking at the weekly high at 29.40. You've been talking about the 29.50 level here. So things are really tightening up here in the AT&T. Managed to sneak down through that 28.80 level, but closed right there. Also, the low was at 28.78. So it looks like that 28.8 buyer has not relented yet.
Yeah, it did get a downgrade today too here, Joel, from Macquarie, so I don't know how much pressure that's going to put on the stock because it is trading up still 10 cents, but there is a downgrade on the stock, so keep that in mind. 29.19, that whole 29.20, 29.25 area has been pretty major resistance too, so the stock gets up. I still think it's a sell. Till it can get above 29.5, I'm not interested in owning this. And, if we start breaking down below yesterday's low at 28.78, look out because it opens up, down to 28.40.
Okay, GE exhibited a lot of strength yesterday, Dennis, actually closing up slightly in the market, in a down market. You are just running into a wall here. A floor, I guess. 5 consecutive lows, Dennis, 16.25 to 16.36. We all know those formations well. Support. GE keeps hanging in there, trying to get a bounce here above Wednesday's high. Problem is you run into some resistance at Monday's high, 16.86, and the Friday, last week's high at 16.98. So really, until we can get below the 16.30 level, close below there, this thing is still poised to move to the upside.
Yeah, but I would be a seller. At 17 area is pretty big. We've had a couple highs just below that. So I'm a seller of this thing in the 1690s, and I'm a buyer of this thing in the 1630s.
Okay, channelingstocks.com again. Okay,
That's it.
Our last component, Coca-Cola, was able to slice through those cluster lows in the 66.20 area, only to get down to 66.04 and pop. It closed right in that support area at 66.26, getting a little pop here in the pre-market. Wednesday's high, 66.91, should be the first stopping point here, or call it 67. Above 67, things open up a little bit. Minor resistance at 66.27, which was Tuesday's high. But that 67.50 level could come into play if this market continues to rally. Below the 66 level, you still got this 8-day low support at 65.88. So good support down at the 66 area.
Yeah, I agree with the 66 area support. It starts getting into the 66, 07 area where the low was yesterday. It's probably not a bad idea to try along there. And you're right, Joel, 67.5. I'm even seeing some size accumulate there. So this thing gets into 60, probably a decent sell.
Okay. All right, folks. There's the numbers for the Big Ten. SPU's just kind of creeping up here, trying to get to our first resistance point at yesterday's intraday high, which was 1218.5. We're going to take a quick break here, get some word in for our sponsors, let the jobless claims and the PPI shake out, and we'll be back with our market movers.